What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Lyrics. So back again for another video, and today we have the Moon Knight episode 6 breakdown, Easter eggs, and details you missed. This is a 17-minute long video, so I'm not going to be talking too much. However, I really did enjoy the finale for Moon Knight episode 6. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was pretty decent. Only thing is, it was quite quick. It was quite fast paced after like the first like 5 minutes or so. Like it picked up, and you know what I'm saying? I see where some people may have had issues and or concerns about it, where it's like it was presented really well, and then it didn't wrap up quite as well as some people kind of hoped it, would. But for me, I thought it was pretty decent. I thought it was fine. Anyways, though, I don't think it's gonna get renewed for a season 2 though. From what I gather, it's like a limited series, so he's just gonna pop up in other stuff, which is completely fine with me. However, if they do a season 2, I'm down for that too. Anyways, though, let me know what your thoughts were on Moon Knight episode 6 and then the overall series as a whole as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Disney Plus series. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what Eric Voss over at New Rockstars has to say. Before we get into it, you let me know down below in the comments, how was your day? Hopefully it was pretty good, but if it wasn't, hopefully this makes it just a little bit better. I got into an accident today, and I'm still happy, excited. You know what I'm saying? Like everything's cool. Insurance got it. It wasn't my fault. I'm chilling, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm life's good. I'm happy. It's been a great week. Anyways, though, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. We're literally almost so close to hitting our goal, 1,000 subscribers before the summertime. Literally grew like 50 subscribers within the last couple days. So please, if you please, you know what I'm saying? If you feel it in your heart, hit that button for me, man. It's free. With that being said, let's just go get to the video. Let's go.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of Moon Knight episode 6, the season finale, in which Jake Lockley finally
about time.
To say, Vaya con Dios. From Layla's new
I didn't expect him to speak
I
Spanish.
kid you not,
Apparently
another
that's,
verified
Oscar
Kang Easter egg. Let us break down all the details that you missed in this episode.
All right.
And this is your last chance to get a Moon Knight themed latest obsession shirt at newrockstarsmerch.com before they go back in the vault forever. Now, before the episode even begins, the previously on segment opens with Arthur Harrow firing his shots at Mark back in episode 4. Gunshots that Jake Lockley will volley back at him in the final shot of this finale.
Shot him
now,
like
over the Marvel title card is Earl Grant's 1958 song The End, with lyrics describing how things like rainbows and stories have finite ends to look forward to, but the speaker's love has no end. In the way that this episode that Marvel has suggested would be a series finale has since been changed to just a season finale, since there is obviously more of Jake's story to be told. And this music drifts away as we fade in on Mark.
Potential season 2? I like how super interchangeable the personalities were.
Yeah, Earl sings the words, at the end of a river,
Mark
the water stops its flow, right as we see Mark bobbing dead in that water, and the audio
Even
mix
during the
works
fight.
in sounds of crashing waves along the bank of a river. Despite Mark floating in just this mere puddle, just a cool way of linking him to Stephen's drowning in the sandy ocean. Harrow says,
Sorry it had to be this way. Mark Spector. Stephen Grant.
And whoever else
might be in there.
A little hint that there is indeed a third altar still inside that body, the one who will avenge these gunshots. And as Harrow places a scarab on his chest, Mark's Star of David necklace is visible, another reminder of how Egyptian mythology and the mysticism of Judaism in the covering of mirrors during the Shiva mourning periods are equally important to Mark, especially in his relationship to his own reflection. Harrow turns, seeming to hear Layla's scuffle.
Detail.
And again, on his steps, the audio mixes in sounds of that crunching glass, which this episode finally drops the smoke screen on as Mark and Stephen see Harrow's true nature. Harrow proudly holds up Amatu-Shapti, and the followers kneel. Another Indiana Jones reference in Raiders of the Lost Ark when Belloc hold up the golden idol and all the men knelt, which Indy uses the chance to escape.
I've
Harrow's
never
staff
watched
now transforms
any of
into
the
an upgraded
Indiana
weapon.
Jones
The
films.
left side crockhead bending over to form one large crockhead, leaving that back half as a blade.
Like an
this
axe.
whole thing transitioning from a balanced swinging pendulum of justice to something closer to an executioner's axe. Layla lifts the scarab from Mark's bloody chest, an early indicator of her final form this episode, the Scarlet Scarab. Harrow uses a staff
pretty dope,
to suck
I'm not
out
gonna lie.
soldiers' souls.
Look better than
It's
the
interesting
Wonder
how these
Woman
purple
one.
souls float upward, signaling how the underworld isn't beneath our feet, but similar to the MCU depictions of Valhalla when Odin floated off to it. It's a spiritual plane with no directional vector to get there. Tara uses corpses to speak to Layla.
Yeah, that was funny.
He's telling you to stop. He's dead. And I'm talking to you through dead people right now. So what?
Yeah, the actor
So
who plays that soldier, Ahmed Saeed, does such a good job matching Antonia Salif's hand gestures and demeanor as Towerette.
And you can be my avatar.
Harrow opens the pyramid to enter the chamber where the Ennead's avatars line up against him.
They weren't really much of a threat at all. Like, took them out like that.
This doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, right at the end of the Avatar's bodies straighten up and their eyes roll back, showing that Harrow is fighting the gods in their human vessels. Yet, since Amit is a beastly devourer, she is more hostile in combat. That fight goes unseen, but at the end of it, Isisa's avatar is left splayed on those steps, while Yetzil, Hathor's avatar, is frozen on the floor, her arms still reaching out. Her fingers not exactly limp on her hand there, in a similar pose as the one Steven was left in. So Harrow finally releases Amit, voiced by actress Saba Mubarak, and I just love Amit's character design with her crocodile tail snaking from thick braids from the back of her head.
Yeah, that was
and the
crazy.
big linen wrappings around her head and dangling from her snout, likening her
She
to
looks
Khonshu,
feminine
a
too,
deity
you know?
also mummified, though she is not as weathered as he is. Whereas Tawaret's ears would always wiggle, here when Amit looks right at the camera, the eye on the left twitches just a little bit, like a little crocodile wink. Amit tells Harrow that his scales lack balance, which is something that she approves of, because that imbalance means that lying ahead of him is some service to her. And she says,
I once relied on a servant whose scales balanced perfectly.
Alexander the
In
Great.
exchange, I was bound to stone for 2,000 years.
yeah, the final avatar she's referring to was Alexander the freaking Great, whom Harrow hinted betrayed her to the gods. And now Amit is suggesting Alexander's scales were balanced perfectly. So it's confirmed.
Wow.
In the history of the MCU, Alexander
really good
the Great
person.
was a successful conqueror thanks to Amit, yet he was still great in his own heart. Layla releases Khonshu, who asks her to be his avatar, but she's like, nope.
You need a plan,
Little
little
bug.
bug.
Yes, the way Khonshu called Steven nicknames like
Worm.
Worm. He does the same for Layla, which also foreshadows the way Layla uses an insect for her moniker as a Scarlet Scarab. And remember, the forger explained how Layla's father called her his little scarab. Mark takes in the Field of Reeds.
It's so
Quiet.
quiet.
Yes, the same words Dr. Otto Octavius says when Peter
Yeah,
faces
he
him in Spider-Man
did,
No Way
huh?
Home.
It's so quiet. Those voices inside my head, I'd almost forgotten.
Because it is a similar catharsis for these characters. An inner world that was once noisy has now gone silent. Mark goes
'cause
back
he hears
for
voices
Steven,
too,
similar
yeah.
to the Greek myth of Orpheus's journey into the underworld for his love Eurydice. Because this series' core dramatic relationship is the brotherhood and the love between Mark and Steven. It's a story of self-love and self-acceptance.
Right.
Are the only real superpower I ever had.
And
Good
so we
line.
get this sweet Anna and Elsa moment where they're one shared heart, not their two hearts separately trying to balance a scale. Just one heart shared together is what moves Osiris to open his gate. Osiris, of course, being the Egyptian god of the underworld and of resurrection. So after passing through this gate, Mark breathes once more in the tomb.
I like how the bullets fall out.
Pain inside of you. Do you want death? Or do you
Ad break. You guys were PSDs and ethicas and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Just
want life?
And in this montage, we flash back to that cave moment in Chicago when last episode Steven stepped on the bird bones in that memory, suggesting Khonshu did project himself in Mark's memory to help him feel less alone when he looks back on that traumatic event. And in this way suggests he was there at his side his whole life. His breakdown outside his mom's Shiva, obviously his possession, but also his marriage with Layla. And now the bullets hit the ground, this close up
love
evoking Neo's resurrection in the Matrix when all the bullets hit the floor. This time, when the wrappings encase his body,
So
it happens
slow.
more slowly. It's
Yeah.
that gentle swaddling, like a
I
loving
liked it.
re-embrace by Khonshu. And then his breastplate layer comes in significantly after, gushing outward in a heart shape. Mark and Steven negotiate with Khonshu, and Khonshu turns it from day to night. Mark leaping into the light of the full moon, his cape eclipsing it.
Dude,
Crescent
that was
shape Layla
so
lets in
dope.
Towerette.
I would be delighted to accept you as my avatar. Oh,
Temporary.
your father is going to be over the moon when he hears.
My father?
I like
I
Tower
met
Rat. She's
him
cool.
when I took him to the Field of Reeds.
Yes, Towerette confirms that she did take Layla's dead father into the Field of Reeds. I like
Good.
how she says over the moon. Just some nice wordplay for Layla and her family history being over and beyond the influence of the moon deity that's ruined their lives. Halo unleashes Amit's judgment over Cairo, and his disciple Bobby preaches what is essentially the creed of Twitter.
Judge everyone.
Yeah. True. So true. Cancel.
And I love this. One of these parries appearance are cameos by Moon Knight director Mohamed Diab, who is judging executive producer Grant Curtis.
Oh wow, that's dope. That's cool.
Who grows giant size, and
I
I
like
like how
that
her braided
behind
tail pushes a truck and clears a nearby camp. Though it is not clear if the people of Cairo can actually see giant Amit and then later also see giant Khonshu, because episode 2 did establish that regular folk cannot see Khonshu kick the trash bin or see the jackal smash into stuff, and that these supernatural forms only present themselves to those they wish to see them. And also, we don't really see any reaction shots of the Egyptians looking up and going, holy shit, a giant crocodile and a giant bird skeleton. Now, harder than wrapping your head around all these details could be wrapping your head around the environmental impact of the electronics we use.
He did that. It was pretty smooth. Real smooth. Yeah,
so
boss.
break up. Layla emerges with her new suit from Tower Rent as the Scarlet Scarab, confirmed by Marvel. You can see the red Scarab insignia on her collar, and she unleashes Scarab wings. Now, in the Marvel comics, the Scarlet Scarab is Abdul Faul, Egyptian villain to a group called the Invaders, which include Cap, Bucky, Human Torch, Namor, and Union Jack. This series has given us hints of this, with Layla's name being Layla Abdallah El Faouli, and that red Scarab on her bandage in episode 4. Also, the closing credits of every episode have shown a Scarab with her holding that scarlet-colored flare. Mark confronts Harrow, and I love how the frame rotates on the incline of the pyramid with the full moon behind them. Amazing shot composition and blocking, because Harrow has high ground and only has to run down.
I have the high ground.
Low ground and must run up. Yet sprints at the same speed as Harrow and hits it with a powerful knee uppercut. The moon framing this all makes it clear that this round goes to Mark. Giant Khonshu fights Giant Amit, right as Mark and Steven fight Harrow in an aerial battle. Now, despite the trope of giant CGI battles in the climaxes of many MCU titles, I actually don't mind it here, because as is often the case in mythology, the battle between mortals is a proxy for a higher tier feud between the gods. Layla saves Mark, deflecting Harrow's blast with her golden wings and crossing her arms, and then later saving a van full of people. Yes, given how outspoken Mohamed Diab was about Wonder Woman 1984's depictions of Egypt, it's hard not to see all of this as an intentional dig at that
I was
and
thinking,
Diana's golden winged armor. And by the way,
you
the
know,
graffiti on the wall behind the girl is Arabic, translating to Khonshu is alive. Throughout all this, I just love the fight choreography.
Yes,
handoffs
Steven
between
went
Steven and Mark,
crazy.
Steven's baton getting deflected and then caught
Catching
by Mark.
it,
And then when Steven is kicked across the alley, Mark's grappling hook shoots out of
Yeah.
that dust. It ends with Harrow pinning down Mark, and then we black out.
Jacob takes care of everything, man. He was about to kill him.
Whoa, so Jake Lockley obviously took over here, as he did in episode 3 with the folks on the roof, and in the transition at the end of episode 2 when Mark suddenly found himself in the Egyptian hotel, and probably the violent blackouts when all those guys ended up dead in the Alpine village.
True.
Here, when Mark wakes up, he's nearly plunging that axe blade into Harrow's head, and in addition to Harrow's men now dead around them, there's also a bunch of flames that were not there before, cars wrecked and burnt, and that shop behind them, whereas before it was undamaged. Now the neon sign is mostly out.
I want to see, man. What happened?
So we still do not know what Jake's suit looks like or how powerful he is, but presumably the suit is capable of unleashing some explosive targeted shockwaves, possessing some kind of power beyond the healing powers and the weaponry of Mark's ceremonial attire.
Really?
Actually, that third look might be visible for a few frames in the credits. Right before we flash to the hooded Moon Knight, another form with frayed mummy wrappings over the face, but with the eyes left exposed. That could be what Jake Lockley looks like when he takes charge.
I thought about that, but I thought it was just the suit forming
but
slowly.
Mark cannot bring himself to execute Harrow, so Khonshu agrees to release them, we think. But Steven wakes up in Harrow's office, where they now see the blood pooling from his sandals. The implication might be that Harrow's feet in this series were always bleeding, but Mark, Steven, all of us did not see it until now. Kind of like in The Sixth Sense, Malcolm sees what he wants to see, and that color red's true significance is not clear until it all comes into focus. But this office, I believe, is not real. Not like the rest of the hospital that we saw in episode 5. The hospital was their perspective of the Duat underworld ship. Rather, this room is their organizing principle representing their subconscious self down. So last episode, they would suddenly teleport back to this room when one of them suffered a mental break. So this Ned Flanders is not Harrow. It's the embodiment of doubt that Harrow's antagonism represents for them. And now that they see Harrow as a bleeding mortal he truly is, they are no longer trapped under their doubt's control. They control it. So Steven says goodbye with...
It's getting late. Let's get it.
Showing both his closure with their mum, but also their departure from Amit's spirit inside Harrow. And the final scene takes Mark and Steven back to where they were in their opening shot of the series, waking up in their London flat, once again listening to Engelbert Humperdinck's A Man Without Love. The tank now has 2 goldfish, reflecting Mark and Steven coexisting. The brothers
it's gonna have 3 soon.
But they fall on their face once again, restrained by the ankle. This restraint and the fish, when you think about it, represented one altar keeping another altar trapped in a tank. And now Jake Lockley has really done that to both of of them what Mark had done to Steven. Now the credit sequence shows now a full moon, an evolution throughout the series, now symbolizing Mark's wholeness with Steven. And the post-credit scene shows Harrow in another psychiatric hospital. Actually, first we see a shot of a rubber ducky dressed as a doctor, maybe a nod to him being a quack doctor in Mark's mind. The way Steven has always been surrounded by sand on this series, now Harrow sees sand in his coffee cup, but spills it, showing the kind of clumsiness Steven would show whenever he fell on his face getting out of his bed. But Harrow still has that tattoo, meaning this is the same real-life guy from before. This isn't in anyone's head. The nurse is waved away.
I beg your pardon.
Calm down, miss. Calm down.
Yeah, it is off screen, but Jake did something to woo or flatter that nurse. Like, she doesn't know where to put her hands. Either she is awkward or smitten, just proving this guy to be a smooth womanizer.
Yeah, I was thinking about
Dylan
that.
Back in the museum.
Hey,
Jake Lockley speaks Spanish, an update from the New York cabbie in the comics, and likely a nod to Oscar Isaac's ancestry, perhaps even hinted at by the Mas Allá del Sol last episode, which now plays once more from the limo. But they wheeled past this poster with a QR code. This is the same QR code that's been hidden in several episodes this season, but now when you scan this with your phone, the page that it takes you to has been updated to a 2019 Moon Knight comic in which Moon Knight faces Kang the Conqueror. Yeah, this is the second Kang Easter egg in Moon Knight after we confirmed Pharaoh Rama Tut on the jacket in episode 3. Now, Kang obviously did not appear in the series. They really didn't need him in this story. But still, this is a Moon Knight producers hinting that the history of the MCU's next big bad is connected to all
I can't
this.
wait till
Who
all this
knows?
Kang
Moon
stuff
Knight
really
or the
comes
Scarlet
to
Scarab,
fruition.
Khonshu, Towerette may show up alongside Kang in a future MCU appearance, like Loki season 2, maybe Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania. We'll see. Outside this hospital is called Sienkiewicz Psychiatric Hospital, a nod to Bill Sienkiewicz, a comic artist who contributed so much of how Moon Knight looks. Rather than the taxi Jake drives in the comics, here he drives a white limo with Spectre
like the
plates,
comics, but it's
like
the
ride
Mr. Knight.
takes
Yeah.
in the comics. Now, this might be nothing, but one of the men standing outside has the same long white hair as Crawley. I don't know if this is just an actor cameo or all of reality crumbling. Now, inside the limo, Khonshu's sitting in there wearing
nice
the
white
fancy
suit.
suit as he does in that same run of the comics. And he says that he was never interested in taking Layla as his avatar since his number one is the hidden altar Mark and Steven never saw, the one in the red sarcophagus, Jake Lockley.
Wait.
Yes, we end on Frank Sinatra's You Are My Way of Life, a song about eternal devotion, like the devotion between Jake and Khonshu. A devotion hopefully we will see more of if we ever get a second season of this show. I want to thank you all for joining us in these breakdowns of
I don't
Moon
know.
Knight
Do you
this
guys
season.
want
You
a
can follow
second
me on
season?
Instagram and Twitter
Or
at
just
@EABoss. Follow New
wanna see him
Rockstars.
pop
Subscribe to
up?
New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.
This is hey, I liked it. I think Moon Knight isn't my favorite. I don't know. It's definitely top. Okay, out of all the MCU stuff, like MCU Disney Plus stuff, it's probably in my top 2 or 3. Top 3. I gotta wait a little bit and really reflect and think about if it's my favorite. WandaVision was really good. I actually really enjoyed the finale for Loki. I know a lot of people didn't, but I really did. Falcon and Winter Soldier is pretty decent. It had some really good shocking moments in there, or reaction moments. But yeah. Anyways, back to the question I had. Would you guys want to see like a season 2 of Moon Knight? Like, part of me says yes, but part of me says like no. Like, I just prefer to see him like pop up here and there in like other people's stories, or they have it, or do like a team up film or a series, Midnight Sun series. Like, like him, Blade, Werewolf by Night, maybe Punisher, or Daredevil if you want to. Ghost Rider, bro. Like, it's just so many ways and places you can go with this whole darker / more mystical side of the MCU, the supernatural type stuff. Like imagine Blade and Moon Knight fighting like vampires together or something, with like Black Knight or something. Like, it's just possibilities are endless. Anyways, you all let me know down below in the comments. What are your thoughts on this? How you felt about the season finale or series finale? Which one is it? And also let me know down below in the comments what it is you want to see next for in the future of the character Moon Knight within the MCU. That being said, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on YouTube, and also follow me on Instagram @LeroySaidSo. Same as YouTube channel. That being said, peace.